and welcome back to the Irish Tennis Updates podcast, to what is possibly the first ever true Irish Tennis Updates podcast. Today I'm happy to be talking to Mark Finnegan, who has been on the podcast before, and he is heavily involved in the world of college tennis and in helping to send Irish players over to the States for their college experience. And what we're going to do today, we are going to bring you some updates on all of the Irish players who are playing in the US college system at the moment, what teams they're on, how they're getting on. The season has just begun in the US, so we're going to catch up on what's been going on for the first couple of weeks. And we're also going to touch on a few other updates from the world of Irish tennis. So I hope you enjoy, hope you find this interesting, and here we go. So Mark, how are you doing? Welcome.
Thanks, Adam. I think this is great that first off that you've been doing this with the junior ITF players that are on playing internationally, and then also with the pro players. It's just, I think the players really do truly appreciate it, and it's great for people to get an update on how everyone's doing. And it's probably the one thing that when I was a college coach over in America, I kind of got a little lost, and nobody in Irish tennis kind of knew what I was doing. So hopefully by updating everybody in Irish tennis on what's going on in America, it will give an idea of what's going on over there, because there's a lot of tennis being played at a very high level, and there's a lot of our best athletes that hopefully we'll see one day playing professional that are currently over there competing.
Absolutely. There's more than I even realized when you said the number to me. I think it's near 50, which I didn't realize. So I'm looking forward to getting some updates on those players over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think 50 is probably a little bit too much, but I think I don't know. We'll go through them all now, and I hope if we've missed somebody, and I've tried my hardest to make sure I've gotten everybody. But if for some reason we have, just please reach out to us, because we did our best to do our research to find out every player that was over there.
Exactly. Now, yeah, and as you said, just before we get into the college stuff, you mentioned a little bit of the action going on at the moment. Apart from that is the junior ITFs. And someone in particular who's had good success is Celine Simoniu. She is currently based in Barcelona in Spain, where she's training. And she is just the last 3 weeks, she's been playing events in Kenya, where she reached the singles final, followed by a semi-final, and then followed that up with going all the way to the title. And so she's had an unbelievable run there, and also won a doubles title along the way, which took her ranking up over 200 places in the last month. So incredible stuff for Celine recently. And someone else in the junior ITFs who was actually playing in the same events in Kenya is Roy Keegan, who's now based in London, is where he's training. So he before Christmas he had a great run in a couple of events in Pakistan, and now in Kenya as well. He won a doubles title in that stretch, and his ranking's up to about 440 as well, which is a huge rise on what it was a few months ago. So he's another player that's progressing really well.
Well, absolutely, and that ranking and those results are putting them right on track to be able to hopefully get into the Grand Slams.
Absolutely, that's it. And just a few more. That's kind of it for the juniors to touch on, and a few of the seniors that have been playing recently as well. Firstly, Ruth Copas. She went to Spain for 3 tournaments earlier in January, and was playing qualies there and getting some good experience in Spain. So it's good to see Ruth in action as well. And someone else who played has played one event so far this year is Simon Carr, who's the Irish #1, of course. He was playing an event in Tunisia. But at that time there were some new restrictions coming in Tunisia, COVID restrictions, and the event was cancelled after just one day, so they didn't get very far. And I guess that just reminds us that there are all these extra challenges at the moment trying to play tennis.
I've seen some great videos actually of Simon through Functional Tennis, and a couple other through his social media of him training. The guy's a beast. His work ethic's incredible.
And someone else who has played a couple of events recently is Oscar O'Hushin, who obviously is another ex college player pretty recently. He's had some good success recently. Before Christmas, he qualified for his first Futures event, winning through the qualifying round and then pushing the 6th seed close in the first round there. And then more recently, he was playing an event in Spain as well. And in the qualies for that, he played former top 50, top 60 player and brought him to 10-8 in the third set breaker. So it was unlucky to miss out on that one. But again, it's good signs for Oscar.
Well, yeah, and we just talk about how tough the futures are for even Travelta, and then you get in your first round of qualies a guy who used to be top 60 in the world. I mean, that's unfortunate, but I know Oscar is based himself there at Soto, and I think he's been really happy there, and Soto do a fantastic job. I mean, there's a few Irish people now that I think gone over there and they've absolutely loved it. So I think it's a really great environment for him. I know Pete Botwell speaks so highly of it too as well, his experience there.
Just a couple other players that have been in action in some futures recently. Carola Bejonaru was playing her first event of the year this week, actually today as we're talking. She was in Tunisia, where she was in the main draw and unfortunately missed out in the first round, but is playing doubles later on this week. So it's great to see Carola playing there. And she was playing in Greece before Christmas as well, so she's playing a good bit as well. And just a final couple of players to give a little shout out to. Preston Connor, Dorian Koss have both been in action in a couple of futures events, Egypt, Turkey, around the place recently. So a lot of good experience for those guys as well.
Yeah, look, I know some of those guys, and it's a win if you even just get into the qualies. I mean, the level of the qualies is just skyrocketing right now at the moment.
But just to move on, I know that obviously a common theme that you see through a lot of those players we were touching on is the idea that they did go to college in the States, and this is where we can move on to talk about a few of the players who are currently in the States. So that, as we said, that there's quite a lot of them, and it's something that it's tricky. I've never really been able to keep up on many of those results, and it's something that obviously is really interesting. It's really great to see how they're all getting on, but it's not easy. So I know it's great to talk to you today to get that insight that you do have, and to start with some of the girls. I know that there's a whole group that have gone kind of to the west of the country. So would you give a little rundown of what's going on over there for the girls?
Yeah, and like kind of chat at the start, is I think this is a great way of people being able to get a quick update on what Irish tennis players are doing. So, our next generation of athletes know the names of these players that are maybe not in their face every single day, right? And probably one of the things I notice most when I'm going around the tournaments is I'll mention a few college tennis players that have been phenomenal, right? And they've had great rankings in college, and they've gone on to play pro, and I'll ask some of the juniors, like, do they know who they are? And they wouldn't have even heard their name. So that's something that we need to change in this country. Our country is not big enough for that to happen. Our tennis world is a small tennis world, and it's a small tennis country. So we need to do a better job of making sure that we honor the history of the past of what players have done, and then continue to honor what these players are doing currently right now at the moment in college, because they are doing a lot. They're putting a lot of effort into tennis. They're doing it while they're doing studies at the highest level, and they're also trying to be great teammates. So, I think it's funny. It's funny. The West Coast, for some reason, there's a lot of activity with Irish girls on the West Coast, and funny enough is a lot of them have played against each other in the recent weeks. So some examples of that is Solon Lola Alida ended up playing Zara Ryan's team from Utah State. Zara Ryan actually won her match at number 2 singles against Idaho State, but then Idaho State actually won the match 4-3 in dramatic fashion. So the twins actually clinched the doubles point, which was great for them. And then Saul was able to win her singles match to clinch the 4th point. So that was kind of a cool experience for Saul. But then also the twins then ended up playing Shauna Heffernan at Boise State. So Shauna Heffernan, who would have been on the panel for Fed Cup, she's played her first 2 matches of her college career, and she played number 3 position in that match in singles and number 1 in doubles. So she won her doubles match, lost a 10-point tiebreaker in her first college match, but then came back that same day in a double header and won her singles match and her doubles match. So a pretty good start for Shauna.
Great stuff. Yeah.
And then Sophia Dervin, who's doing fantastic at Colorado. She ended up playing Ellie Murphy's team a while back there. And Ellie Murphy's team is on fire at the moment. I think they're undefeated 6-0. And basically Sophia might have been, actually was the only one to win that day in that match. It was 6-1 to Iowa State over Colorado. And then Cara Courtney, she's got a new university, so she transferred then to San Francisco. You know, I know she's battling a lot of issues with some injuries at the moment, but I see that she played 5 singles. You know, she probably will be a little bit higher in the lineup probably for San Francisco, but it seems like to me that those injuries might be holding her back a little bit. And then it's great to see another person who's found a new home, Shauna Casey. Shauna transferred from Jacksonville State. Probably wasn't the right fit university for her to begin with, but now she's found a great home in Sacramento State. So she's now in the lineup playing 5 singles, and she's played 1 doubles, I think, for one of the match, and 3 doubles for the other one. So I think that's it for the West.
Perfect. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's great to see so much going on. And just to continue on with this, I guess one player who a lot of us will be more familiar with, who is over there in college in the US, is Georgia Drummey, who is also the Irish #1 in the WTA. And she's playing in the South along with a couple of other Irish girls. So there's well, what's going on there?
Yeah, and so Georgia transferred to Duke, and she's playing #2 in the singles lineup for Duke. And you know, I actually got a chance to watch her play against Georgia Tech in a really tough battle and tough match. And the winner went to what's called the national indoors of that match. So unfortunately, they lost that match 4-3, and Georgia had a really tough loss in the 3rd set tiebreaker. But you know, she's been having a solid record. I think she's won the rest of her matches. And the team is 3-1. So look, Duke are always one of the best teams in the country, and so they'll have a fantastic season. So yeah, it's good to see her. Seems like she's doing well in her new home. And then you got Jessica. Jessica had a fantastic freshman year. I can't remember how many matches that she won, but certainly I think she won over 20 matches her freshman year. But her team's off to a bit of a rocky start. They're 0-4 on the year. And she's been playing mostly at 4 singles, and I think at 3 doubles. So, and I think she's won, I think, you know, 2 of her matches and lost 2 of her matches. So, you know, I think the team's off to a little bit of a rocky start, but it's early on. So we'll see how they go for the rest of the year. And then we got Ali O'D, who's at Elon. And I see Ali's competed in 1 or 2 of the matches. I think at the 5 and 6 position, the team seems to be doing pretty good at 3-1. So those are our 3 girls right now at the moment in D1 in the South.
Yeah, and then to finish off discussing the D1 Division 1 players, and there are also by the looks of it a big group of girls in the Northeast and the Midwest of the country. So I guess you can give a little update on what's going on over there as well.
Yeah, and again, the Northeast. So the difference between the Northeast and some of these other places is that they've been much slower to get going when it comes to COVID-19. So a lot of their schedules have been condensed, and or they're just starting much later on into the year. So I know Emily O'Donovan is at Seton Hall. They don't play their first match till February the 19th against Fordham. Who else we got there? We got Olivia Moriarty, who's an American-Irish player. She's at Brown, and they won't be playing at all this whole year. They've cancelled the season, the Ivies. And who else have we got? And then we have we've got Ellie, we mentioned there earlier on at Iowa State, which is more in the Midwest. You know, her team's, like I said, on fire. Kira O'Toole, she's got a new home now. She was at Campbell, but now at Sacred Heart, which is a lovely Catholic university in the Northeast. She doesn't play till February the 14th. And then we've got, you know, I think probably the person who's doing team's doing the best at the moment is Julie Byrne. Julie is at Northwestern. Her team's 4-1. Had a fantastic win over NC State and Wake Forest to actually make what's called the national indoors, which is the top 8 teams in the country this year. She's been playing #2, but for some reason last weekend I didn't see her in the lineup. I haven't had a chance to check in with her, but you know, she was obviously a big loss for them because she plays 1 doubles, I think, too, as well. And their team actually went 2-1 in the indoor championships, losing to the team that made the final, Texas, in the first round, but then followed up with some great wins over Ohio State and I believe Oklahoma State. And then we have Jenny Timotton, who's at Michigan State. Jenny, who transferred from Fresno State, seemed to be playing a lot at the number 5 and 6 position last year, but haven't seen her in the lineup for the first few matches. But I know she played like kind of an open tournament there at the start of the year where she went 1-1, beating a girl from Illinois. And then we got Lucy Octave, she's the one of the, just like Julie, has benefited from the COVID-19. They're what's called fifth-year seniors, so they've been able to benefit from the loss of the year last year. And so her team's 2-0 right now at the moment for Xavier, but I actually haven't seen Lucy in the lineup, so not sure what's going on there either. So and then Laura Fitzgerald, Illinois State. She seems like she's mostly played in her career at the 4 and 5 slots and 3, 4, and 5 slots, and she seems to be picking up that position again this year. And her team's currently 2 and 4 at the moment. So, so I think that's most of the D1 girls, and we've got a few of the D2 girls too as well, Adam.
Yeah, no, and I know that's something that you would like to see even more of, maybe the D2, because all these girls we've talked about so far are D1, which is amazing, and then there's a smaller number in D2. So I guess something you'd like to see a little bit more of, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know why people have this thing in their heads that D1 or D2. It's not like the Premiership and the Championship. There's many Division 2 teams that would have better facilities, and NAIA universities have better facilities over Division 1 universities. So, you know, the ones that we do have are actually doing really well. So, you know, the two McCulloch twins from Tusculum, their team's ranked inside the top 25 in Division 2 to start the year. They haven't started their season yet, but you know, be expecting big things from them. And one of the twins, Caitlin, has done fantastic. Like, she was, I think, NCAA Division 2, an All-American, and also as well was nominated for Women of the Year in the sport. So that's an incredible achievement from her. And then you've got people like Emer Marr, who's thriving at Barton College. You know, Emer is a transfer from a D1 school, but seems like she's found a much better fit here in Barton College. And she doesn't start again until February the 13th. And their first match is against Augusta College. And Emer's actually from Nace, my home club too as well, which is nice too as well. And then, you know, Emily Connolly is definitely finding her feet at NAIA University, a top 10 university for NAIA called Indiana Wesleyan University. And she played her 5 singles and 2 doubles and 1 boater matches in her first in the first match of the spring. They actually, in NAIA, they actually play a lot of fall team matches too as well, which is nice. And then Ella Lynn Brown at the Academy of Art over there on the West Coast. She doesn't play again until February the 13th. That'll be their first match. So like I said, a small group of girls there. So it's something that I don't think sometimes the Irish girls think that is available. But you know, maybe you haven't been one of the top girls in Ireland, but maybe you're a late bloomer. So it's definitely something that we would like to keep adding more and more of maybe not the top Irish girls of seeing an opportunity to maybe use those 4 years to their advantage to get a great experience and progress in their tennis.
Yeah, because as you say, you don't have to be the top. You can still go over there and have an amazing time and do some amazing stuff for your tennis. Like it's a great opportunity for anyone to go over there.
Yeah, look, and for me, it's always like, look, you know, until we develop a system here in Ireland and college that, you know, is more than just one weekend of playing college matches against each other. You know, we have to think of these other countries as a great option to continue to play your tennis at a really, really high level. You know, it'd be fantastic to have, and I think maybe in the future, hopefully we can create that. But in the short term, you know, if you want to keep up your tennis at the highest level as you possibly can, then going over to play and do 3rd level education with your tennis it's a great option if you love tennis.
Yeah. And just before we go on to talk about some of the boys that are over there playing, I know there's also a few Irish coaches who are working in different colleges in the States. So do you have a little story for some of those coaches working over there? Which I know you've been one of yourself, I know.
Yeah, and again, like, it's kind of similar. It's you know, like, I spent 11 years as a college coach over there, and I had some great success, and you know, coached some really great players that went on to play Davis Cup, and another one that just won, you know, Australian Open in doubles. Like, so it's, you know, it would have been nice, I guess, for people to know a little bit more of what I was doing there. And you know, I think one of the great stories we have right now, and it's a Nace man himself, is a guy who played for me at Memphis for a little while, was Dara Glavin. And Dara is now the University of Miami men's assistant tennis coach, which is an incredible achievement. I mean, Miami is one of the top conferences and one of the most desirable places you want to coach college tennis, right, or play college tennis. So he used to be the Delaware assistant and did a great job there. Before that, he was the Princeton assistant, and so now he's in his first semester in his first year at Miami, and they just lost their first match against a really good UCF team 4-3. So, and then obviously Peter Wright is a legend, and hopefully everyone knows who Peter Wright is, but for Cal Berkeley. But he's had tons of Irish tennis players over there and helped them become the best versions of themselves. And they're off to 2-1 record, losing to UCLA. And I know Peter doesn't ever likes using the UCLA, but it's not the end of the world if you used to lose to UCLA, because they're always so good, And then another good one, new one, is Peter Fleming. It's great to see him. He's over there with Oisin Shaffery, and it's great to see those guys. So he's getting into a little bit of college coaching here. Off the bit of a tough start, the team's 1-4, but they've played a very competitive schedule so far.
Yeah. And you mentioned there, I guess that moves us into just touch on some of the boys who are playing college, and that there are less than there are girls. But I guess, would you give us a little rundown of all the action for the guys in the States?
Yeah, and again, there's a little bit less, and funny enough, there's actually a decent amount playing D2, a little bit more than the girls, but what we got here is we got Brennan Thomas is playing for Butler, hasn't started the season yet, and then like we mentioned there, Oisin Shaffery, he stepped it up. He's now playing number 1 and 2 in the lineup in singles, for his team, and I believe he's won a couple of matches so far, but certainly that's a big step up for him, especially with a tough schedule. And then we got another guy from Nace and Carlo is Sean Keane. Sean just played his first match. He's playing a Division II school in South Carolina called Coker College, and he went 2-0 on his first weekend of in singles in his matches, and his team went 1-1, so that was great for him. Then we've got Matthew Saunders at Tiffin University, another Division II university. Their team has only played one match so far, and they're 0-1. He played 4 singles. Mark Griffin seems to be doing really good. He's at an NAIA university. He's had a pretty good record. Like I said, I mentioned before, the NAIA play a lot of team matches in the fall. So his team's record 7-4. He's been playing mostly at 3-4, mostly at 3. But I believe his last match he actually beat a D1 player in a 10-point tiebreaker at the 4 position, which is a great result for him. And then we got Keane McDonald, who's up there at North Dakota, University of North Dakota. So that's probably the only place right now at the moment that's definitely probably colder than Ireland. But he had a great situation there. I think the Tennis Ireland put on their social media. He clinched a great match there for 4-3 against Youngstown State, playing at the number 3 singles. His team's 3-2. And there's nothing, anyone who's played college tennis knows there's nothing better than clinching a 3-all match and winning 4-3 for your team. So we got Moritz Stenzer down in sunny Florida. He's in Orlando in a university called Rollins College, beautiful university. They haven't started yet. That's a Division II school. Carl Butler, I've been looking for actually some results for this morning for him. I know they competed over the weekend. He was supposed to play top 6 in the lineup, but I haven't been able to get any detailed results. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything went well for him. Got Christian Duffy. Got to meet Christian over the summer. Lovely guy. He hasn't began yet. He's at Stonehill College in Division II. Their season hasn't begun again in the Northeast. And then we got Dovey. I'm not even going to try to pronounce Dovey's whole name, but they don't start till February the 18th. We got Fergus O'Rourke. Fergus got a new home. He was at Lander, now at Spring Hill College. Played a few matches last year before COVID hit. They don't start till February the 18th. And then we got Morgan Lowen. Morgan is at Iowa. He's a senior now. Morgan's been very, very unfortunate. Their program at Iowa is actually getting discontinued after this year. So I haven't seen Morgan in the lineup. I know he's always battling to get right in there at the 6th position. And then a few new homes here too as well is Philip Lynch, starting a new university. They haven't started their season yet, but he's at Sacred Heart, so the same place as Keir O'Toole. Neil O'Connor at Coastal Carolina, great university, great school. It seems like he's going to find a new home there, and it's going to be great for him. He was at a school called IUPUI, but they were discontinuing their program, so he transferred. Their first match is on February the 13th. And then we have Charlie Barry, also at Tulane. Obviously, Tulane are one of the best universities in the country. Doesn't seem like he's been able to crack the top 6 yet. Team's 4-2 record overall, but I'm sure it'll be just a matter of time before Charlie's able to crack that lineup. So that's pretty much all the guys that I have right now at the moment. That I I could be missing a couple, but like you said, if I am or missing a girl or guy, please, first off, I apologize, but make sure to reach out to me, and I'll make sure we include you in these updates.
Absolutely. And it's great to see so many that you're going through, and all the action for them. And just a final note for us to touch on is it's not just the US where there's people who have traveled to for college tennis. And there's also a number of guys who've traveled to the UK, to Scotland, to England for college as well. So do you have a little bit of update on those guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed it best there. Is like, in the end of the day, is look, you got to find the right fit for yourself. So, America is not the right fit for everybody. It's not the right place. Some people are way better off being here in Ireland, or to develop their tennis, or in Britain to develop their tennis. So, some of those guys that I'm not as familiar with, but I know Caleb Ralston has been doing great. He's been on the at Bath, and I believe he's been on the first team at Bath, which is incredible achievement, because that roster at Bath is very competitive. And then the same thing we got with Dorian. Cost Dorian is in Stirling, Scotland, along with Peter Curry. And both of those actually battled in my UTR tournament in the final during the summer here. Peter Curry is some talent. So I know he's been playing a little bit on the team below the Dorian, but there's no reason why Peter Curry and Dorian shouldn't be making that first team. I think they're both on the second and third team right now at the moment. And then we got Harry Ellesmere, who's found himself a great place in Exeter. Know the coach there at Exeter really well. He's over here in Ireland this summer. Seems like he's a great guy, and there's a good thing going on over there. I think that's it, Adam.
Yeah. It's great to get the updates. Obviously, all the huge number of players over in the States, and obviously that slightly smaller number, but the people who found a good college for them in the UK. And like I really appreciate get the chance to talk to you today to get those updates, because it's something that, as we said earlier, is not available. It's not something that I'd really know where to find them. And I think it's the same for most people, that they wouldn't have access to these things. So it's great to talk to you today to get that little update on how things are going, and maybe we can do it again in a couple of weeks' time to get more updates on the season as the season progresses.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, no, it was fun doing it. And look, as I said, the most important thing is these players have worked their tails off their whole entire lives in their tennis, and to give them a little bit of recognition to some of the positive things that are going on, it's a no-brainer to me. So thank you, and hopefully, I definitely want to do this again. And this is a busy time for college tennis, so maybe we'll do a couple over this period of time, and we'll take it from there.
100%. Look forward to it. Thanks, Mark. Thanks again to Mark. Two additional things for me to mention. Firstly, correction that Neil O'Connor's previous college was UMKC and not IUPUI. And secondly, to mention Jonathan Garcia, who is in Merrimack College. Their key season has not yet started. Thanks again to Mark, and thanks for listening. I hope you did find this interesting, getting these updates on the college tennis situation. We do hope to be back in a couple of weeks to bring you up to date with what has been going on since this episode. We will see you next time.